o'clock. I'm waiting. Yes, it says I'm going live. We're good to go. We are talking about mistake number 1 today. If you are new to the group, I'm doing a little mini video series today. It's called the filthy truth or the dirty truth. I can't remember what I called it, but it's all about the top mistakes that women make over the age of 40 when they are trying to lose weight. So who is this for? So if you have been eating a healthy diet and you have been following a really good exercise program and you're still having a hard time losing weight, it's probably not the calories. It probably is your physiology that is getting in the way. And by physiology, I am talking about your hormones, your metabolism, neurotransmitters, gut health, inflammation, immune system, etc., etc. So basically what I'm talking about is your health from the inside out. And while, yes, it is true, thank you for those of you that are joining. And yes, it's true that calories matter. They do matter. If you eat too many calories, you're going to gain weight or you will not lose weight. But your physiology determines your ability to lose weight even when you're doing everything right. And I want to start by telling you about a study. It's a really interesting one, and it was presented at the annual American Diabetes Association. And the presenters told the audience that they could predict who would lose weight on a low-calorie diet based on their blood markers. So how is that even possible? Again, it has to do with this idea that your physiology, your metabolism, your hormones determine your ability to lose weight. So if we can assess what's going on with your hormones, we can predict how easily you're going to lose weight, which is pretty interesting. And it's a really key thing here to remember. So again, the problem is that most weight loss programs are focused on the calories, right? And I see this all the time on Instagram with different fit pros who basically are like, yeah, you're just eating too much. And it frustrates me because I know that so many of the women that I see in different groups are really doing the best they can, and they're cutting calories and they're killing it on the treadmill, and they are still not losing weight. And it's not because they're not cutting their calories enough. It has to do with physiology. And thank you for joining me today, ladies. So again, this is the first of 5 live videos on this topic, the topic of stubborn weight loss. I would love to know if you're joining me live or if you're catching the replay, and say hello to me. You can comment and I can read your comments as they come up, okay? All right, so we have been told our entire life, especially women of our generation, that in order to lose weight, all we have to do is eat less and exercise more. And like we grew up in that generation of like aerobic bunnies in the 80s, and this message was like drilled into our brain. And for many of us, that used to work, right? That used to work. Maybe you, in the past, you used to go on a diet and you would lose weight and you'd be like, okay, that's great. Now I'll just keep going or keep doing what I'm doing. But what I see a lot with women over 40 is, again, they're doing everything right. And by doing everything right, I mean, they're eating a clean diet, they're watching their portions, they're exercising regularly, and they just can't lose the weight. What they were doing before no longer works. Another common scenario that I see is women who have never struggled with weight in their life, and suddenly they hit like 40, 42, 43, and boom, suddenly overnight they start gaining weight. So why is this happening? Why is it that much harder for women to lose weight after the age of 40? What it boils down to is the fact that your physiology is changing. And I don't know how much you ladies know about perimenopause and menopause and what happens. I think most women understand that estrogen levels start to change, but there's a lot more going on than estrogen. So yes, estrogen is starting to decline, and yes, that has an impact on weight gain. But women become more insulin resistant, Women also start to lose progesterone, which is another sex hormone, which makes us more stress reactive. So we have a tendency to have too much cortisol. We are more prone to hypothyroidism. We are more prone to adrenal fatigue. We start to see changes in different hormones that regulate appetite. So ghrelin, the hormone that makes us feel hungry, goes up, whereas leptin, the hormone that makes us feel satiated, goes down. We have less human growth hormone, which is a fat burning hormone. Our metabolism slows down. So all of these physiological changes are happening, and they're kind of like creating the perfect storm for weight gain. Because again, remember, your physiology determines your ability to lose weight. Does that make sense for those of you that are catching this live? If you can give me like a thumbs up or a heart that I'm making sense right now, that would be fantastic. Now, obviously, if you are eating the standard American diet or the standard Canadian diet and you're just sitting on the couch, you will gain weight and you will have a hard time losing weight. If you want to have a good physique, you have to put some effort into it, and you have to eat right, and you have to exercise. But you and I could be following the exact same diet, and we could have exactly different results, again, based on our physiology. And we can't generalize here, because what you've been doing for the past 40 or 50 years of your life is going to have an impact on how your physiology is right now. You may have more insulin resistance. Your thyroid might be different. Maybe you're estrogen dominant for a number of reasons. So we can't generalize, but this is, again, something I see all the time, is that in different groups, I'm in a lot of keto groups, and I see some women who are like, oh my God, this keto thing is amazing. I'm losing 2 pounds a week. And then other women are like, I've been doing this for 2 months and nothing is changing. And what I really want to drill home is that it's probably not the diet. You probably don't need to jump on a different diet. Whatever, regardless of what you're doing, whether it's keto or paleo or vegan or whatever it may be, it's probably not the diet. It's probably your physiology. And if I can give you one key takeaway for today, I want you to understand that if your physiology is optimal, right? If everything's balanced and everything's humming right along, you will get better results with any program. Whereas if your physiology is suboptimal and you've got some metabolic conditions that are throwing everything out of balance, your results are going to be subpar. And sometimes we have to start by healing the inside before we can start to see weight loss on the outside. So I want to talk a little bit about some of the hormones that do affect women over 40. I'm not going to take a super deep dive today, because that would be like a 2-hour live video, and I know that you guys are busy. But we are going to talk about some hormones, the sort of the big ones, the major players that can have an impact on your ability to lose weight. And so, again, not knowing how much you know about hormones at this point, there's 2 things that I want you to understand. So number 1, I want you to think of hormones as little tiny messengers that go all around your body and basically tell your body what to do. And then the other second thing you need to understand about hormones is that when your hormones are balanced, your body functions properly. And when your hormones are out of whack, your body does not function properly. So your hormones follow what I like to call the Goldilocks principle. So it always is not too much, not too little, but just right. That's where your hormones need to be. So let's start with the first one. Insulin and insulin resistance, which is having too much insulin, okay? So insulin is a hormone that basically what it does is it tells your body to take glucose or sugar from your bloodstream and pull it into your cells and convert that glucose into ATP or energy. Now, again, some insulin is necessary. Without it, that, like type 1 diabetics, for example, they have to take insulin to survive. We need insulin. The problem happens when we have too much insulin, when insulin is chronically elevated. And what happens when it's chronically elevated is that your body essentially becomes desensitized to the message. Think of it this way, like if you go into a room that stinks, you will eventually, like, you won't even notice the smell anymore. You get desensitized. And so your body gets desensitized to the hormone insulin. So your cells stop into taking the glucose and turning it into energy. But if there's too much sugar in your bloodstream, it is toxic. And so what your body does in order to protect you is it does the next best thing. It takes that glucose, it turns it into triglycerides, and it stores it in your fat cells. So you can probably see how this will cause weight gain. So that's the number one hormone. The second hormone that's really problematic is cortisol. And I'm going to be taking a really big dive into cortisol on Thursday. But what women need to understand is, number one, cortisol is your stress hormone. So it is the hormone that your body produces when it senses stress. And what it tells the body to do is to release energy from your fat cells, from your liver, from your muscles, and turn it into glucose in order to give you energy to deal with a stressor, which is great if it's a bear, but it's bad if it's chronic stress, because it will just lead to elevated glucose and elevated insulin and insulin resistance, which brings us back to the first hormone. Again, we're going to talk about this hormone in depth on Thursday, because I think probably 99% of you are chronically stressed out, myself included. All right, next one. Let me see what my notes say. Okay, next one is thyroid. This is another big one for women over 40. And this is something, again, that typically is a low thyroid or not enough thyroid. Women are more prone to hypothyroidism than men, and women over the age of 40 and especially over the age of 50 are more sensitive to hypothyroidism or thyroid disorders. Your thyroid, you can think of it as your master hormone. It is the hormone that regulates your metabolism. And so it can regulate it up, it can speed it up, or if you have a sluggish thyroid or hypothyroidism, it can slow it down, which will make weight loss a lot harder. And then the fourth hormone that I just want to mention is estrogen. Now, this is a really important one for both perimenopause and menopause. So the problem when it comes to weight gain is estrogen dominance, or having too much estrogen in relation to another sex hormone called progesterone. And first of all, we are swimming in estrogen all around us. So in the form of something called environmental estrogens or xenoestrogens. And you are constantly ingesting estrogen if you drink or if you eat dairy, conventional dairy, if you eat conventional red meat, if you, every time you put cosmetics on your face, your skin, your shampoo, your laundry detergent, your cleaning products, the plastics in your cupboard and your Tupperware, all of those are sources of estrogen. So that in and of itself is a massive problem and can be a cause of estrogen dominance. But then when we talk specifically about women over 40, if you are in perimenopause, what is happening is that your progesterone is dropping at a faster rate than your estrogen. It starts to drop when you're 35. You also start to have something called anovulatory cycles, where you do not even produce any progesterone, and estrogen is kind of all over the place. And so that just exasperates estrogen dominance. And for the women that are post-menopause, who might be thinking, okay, well, I'm post-menopause, so now I have low estrogen. Well, just understand that it's very possible that you have low estrogen and estrogen dominance all at the same time. So why is estrogen a big deal? The reason it's a big deal is something called toxic fat gain. And what you need to understand, once again, about stubborn weight loss is that if you have something, if your body senses that something isn't right, like you have too much estrogen, it's going to try to protect you. And what it does is it takes that excess estrogen, it will try and get rid of it through your liver, but some women have a hard time metabolizing excess estrogen. So again, it does the second next best thing, and it takes that estrogen and it stores it in your fat cells. And it does that along with all these other toxins that we're ingesting. So again, now your estrogen is sitting in your fat cell, and your body will not release fat, because if it releases fat, it releases everything else in those fat cells. So toxicity is a really big problem, estrogen dominance being one of them. Does that make sense? I hope that I'm not going too fast here. I don't want to go on and on for too long. And I also don't want to overwhelm you, but what I want you to understand at this point is that if you're not getting results, I don't want you to necessarily eat less and exercise more, because that is probably not going to help. And in fact, I might argue that it might actually do the opposite effect and cause even more hormonal imbalances. So just be cautious about what you decide to do if you're not getting results with what you're currently doing. So what I want to do, now we can dive into all of this in 2021. This is like, I'm just getting started here, but I did want to give you some actionable steps today that you can start to take in order to think about how you can support your hormones and support your physiology, so that you're putting your body in a position to be able to lose weight more effectively. So I'm going to go through 10 of them, and then I'll see if you guys have any questions. Okay. So number one, I want you to avoid or minimize, and this is like do your best, any inflammatory foods. So that would be gluten, grains, dairy, conventionally raised meat, like, or beef, specifically red meat, as well as vegetable oils. Get all of those as much as possible out of your diet. Second thing you want to do is you want to avoid high glycemic foods. And I know you know this already, but the sugar and the processed carbs and the junk food and the deep fried stuff, it's got to go. Number three, you need to eat a lot of fiber. You need, and mainly from vegetables. Fiber is going to help your body to detoxify those excess estrogens and basically poop them out. Okay. If possible, avoid starchy carbs early in the morning. Save your starch for later in the day, and that's going to help just manage your blood sugar levels and manage your insulin. Stop snacking. So we don't need to be eating breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner, snack. Every single time you eat, you bump up your insulin. 3 meals, glycemically balanced, like not a big bowl of pasta, and you will be well on your way to managing your insulin. Don't overly restrict your calories. I'm going to talk about this tomorrow. That is mistake number 2. We're talking about when women overly restrict their calories. It can have a huge impact on all of your hormones, but in particular your thyroid. Make sleep and stress management a priority. When women want to lose weight, they really usually focus on their diet and they focus on exercise, because nobody really wants to go to bed early and nobody wants to sit and meditate, but they're really important, and we can talk more about this. We will, actually, on Thursday. Eat organic whenever possible and clean up your cosmetics and your cleaning products. So again, these are all sources of toxins, including environmental estrogens, and we want to do our best to minimize estrogen dominance. You can't control what your body is doing during perimenopause. There is going to naturally be some estrogen dominance because of the drop in progesterone. So we're just trying to support our body as much as possible. So that's what I have for you today. I would love to know if that was helpful at all. Again, we're going to talk about all of this in 2021. I want to keep talking about these and giving you guys strategies. But if you're just like, okay, I know this stuff, but I'm not implementing it, or if you're like, oh my God, that is absolutely overwhelming and I just need to be told what to do. I do offer coaching services. And so if you need the extra support or you need the accountability, feel free to reach out for me. This is actually a really good time to start with me because I am going to be offering a Black Friday promo on my new program, which is called Flat Belly Over 40, and it addresses a lot of this. So if you want to learn more, you can always comment below or send me a message. Just ask for the information. I'll send you the details. And if it resonates, then we can book a strategy session and figure out if we're a good fit to work with each other, and just kind of go from there. And that's what I have for you today. So tomorrow, we're talking about why restrictive calorie diets often do more harm than good. And I'm going to be talking about something called metabolic compensation. And I think this will really resonate with the women who have kind of gone from 1,800 calories to 1,500 calories, maybe down to 1,200 calories. And you're like, I don't eat anything. Why am I not losing weight? We're going to talk about that tomorrow. Do you have any questions if you're live before I sign off for the day? You ladies are very quiet. Maybe you're taking notes. Nothing, nothing, nothing. Going once, going twice. I see totally Michelle. This is awesome. Thank you, Michelle. Hello, Lisa. I don't see who else is there. I was looking over here for the comments, but now I see that they're over here. Well, it looks like you guys don't have any questions. If you do, you can always post them below this video, especially if you're catching the replay. And of course, give me a heart. Michelle, thank you for that heart. Give me a heart if this is helpful, if this is useful, if this is the kind of information that you're looking for. I will see you again tomorrow. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, and enjoy your evening.